So we're going to take a little bit of a journey into the unknown in this video, taking a look at this. The new Hotwav Cyber 16 Pro, not currently available globally just yet, but I'm going to whip it out the box, see what it's about, go through some of the features of this rugged phone from a brand that you may not have heard of. So let's dive in. Okay, so here's the new Hotwav Cyber 16 Pro. A few of the specs on the bottom: 6.6 inch Full HD Plus 1080p display, 6,280 mAh battery, 8 gigs of RAM, expandable with an extra 16 gigs, 512 gigs of storage, 108 megapixel rear camera, 32 megapixel selfie, Android 15, and a MediaTek Helio G100 processor, when they were kind enough to send me bronzed gold, so not just the boring black. So let's whip the Cyber 16 Pro out of the box. Oh, I did cut that side. Try again. There we go. So here is what is in the box. So you get a charging brick rated at 33 watt maximum, a user manual, and the phone as well. I've also got the Hyper 7 Pro, which they were kind enough to send me as well. I've not actually done a video on this one. Maybe I should. Let me know down in the comments if you want me to. But that is considerably chunkier than this Cyber 16 because it's got a massive 10,000 mAh battery. So let's just flip it on out of the packaging. Feels really nice. Really like this bronzed gold sort of colouring. Volume buttons on the right, power button with integrated fingerprint scanner, and then a personalised button which you can set to do various things, which I'll go into in a minute. And then your selfie camera as well. Peel off the front and let's power it on. So the Hyper 7 Pro has the same size display with some pretty chunky bezels as well. But it does look a little bit smaller, so maybe the chunk bezels aren't quite as big. No, it doesn't look that way. And then of course you've got that screen on the back, which is pretty cool. Screen on the back of this one as well. So going through the setup process, it's very similar to what you'll find on most other Android devices on the market. So let's just connect to the Wi-Fi. So I've just gone through and set up a few of the other bits. Cut it out just because that's a little bit boring, it's the same old stuff. So let's just quickly set up the fingerprint scanner, which is built into this power button. So you've just got to tap your thumb on the fingerprint scanner just so it registers, move it around a little bit just so it gets all parts of your thumbprint. Of course you can do like your index finger on your other hand as well. I won't do that just yet, and then in a second I'll demonstrate just how well it works once we're all set up. Just accept all the usual bits and bobs. I'm not going to back up just yet. Let's just agree to that stuff for a minute. Gemini bits and bobs. As you can see, the bezels on this, oh no, I don't want to do that, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. The bezels on this display aren't particularly slim. We won't do all those other bits just yet, but that's sort of to be expected on rugged phones, although some of them are getting a little bit better. So you can pick between gesture navigation or 3 buttons navigation. I'll stick to gestures, and then with a bit of luck, there we go. So here is the Hotwav Cyber 16 Pro. Let's just turn that brightness down a little bit just so it's not so bad on camera. And then you've got a few apps preloaded on here. There's no apps tray out of the box. And from what I can remember with the Hyper 7 Pro is I actually had to download Google's Nova launcher to get that apps tray because I couldn't find it anywhere on this phone. So we'll just have a look to see if I can find it on here. While we're here, so you do get 120 Hz refresh rate on this phone, but it is set to 60 Hz as standard, and you can flip between 60, 90 or 120. You've got 120 Hz, so why not have it on there? And it just makes everything feel much, much smoother. As for the rest of the settings menu, it's pretty standard. You've got your usual bits and bobs like your Wi-Fi, other connected devices. So you've got your Bluetooth settings in there, notifications, display. So we'll jump into that again. And you can change all sorts of bits and bobs like your display size, your text size, all that stuff. There's wallpaper and style, change wallpaper, and there's a few on-device wallpapers here that you can play around with. And then of course, my photos, I haven't taken any yet, but there's an option there for you as well. And then there's a few more lock screen options here as well. Auto screen rotate, which we will turn on, although it's rotated it straight away. Of course, the screen refresh rate, which we touched on a second ago. Top screen display, you can hide the notch if you want to, but it doesn't bother me, so I'm not going to do that. And then screensaver as well, screen out activity, screen timeout, sorry, and then lock screen information as well, and adaptive brightness, which I'm going to leave off for a minute because it can be a little bit temperamental on some of these lesser known brand phones. It's not always the best. Sound and vibration, security and privacy, passwords and accounts, apps, so you can jump into all your individual settings for all of the apps on your phone, and then you can look at screen time and all that sort of stuff as well. Battery information, battery usage information. Of course, I've just turned the phone on, so there's not going to be any of that. Show battery percentage in the status bar or not at all. There isn't the option to have the percentage on the outside of the battery, which I do actually prefer. And then you've got storage information as well. So a massive 512 gigs of storage on this, which is really great. And then, go back into that. And then you've got a breakdown of where each section is taking up the storage on your device as well. Accessibility options, location, all those bits. Fingerprint scanner, which of course I've registered as well. And then you can set it to, you can touch your fingerprint scanner to return back the screen, recent tasks, take a photo, etc. I'm not going to set any of that up yet. Google information, Dura speed, which you can turn it on for certain apps to prioritize the speed of those apps. Memory expansion, so if you want to increase the RAM of your device, you can set it up to an extra 16 gigs on top of the 8 gigs that's already on the phone. I haven't got it on at the moment. And then you've got your side key function, which is this red one here. So one click, you can do, I don't know, what do you want? Open the app. So we can do that to, let's say we'll do WhatsApp for one click, and then a double click, we can do open the camera. And then that will open WhatsApp with one, and then a double click will open the camera. So that's a nice little feature to have. Oh, sorry. And then long press, you can change it again, which I'm not going to do just yet. Mini screen. This is something that's a really cool feature. Is it even on? It is on. So select a clock plate. Let's do that first. So that's the one I've got set on the Hyper 7 Pro. So we'll pick a different one for this. So we'll go with that one. And then hopefully, there we go. It opens that up. And you just got a few things. So you can swipe down from the top to get to your battery information, swipe up for notifications, swipe one way for your music, and swipe your other way for a compass. It's not the most intuitive rear display, but it gives you a few extra features as well. Test out this fingerprint, pretty quick, just to get back in. And then you can select the brightness of your rear display, the time that you want it to turn off if you're not interacting with it, go home time, etc. And then you can turn it on with the main screen or not, so to speak, flip to turn the screen on, notification tip, etc. So it's quite cool. It's not, like I said, it's not the most intuitive display, but it's a nice extra feature to have. Gloves mode, so of course if you're out and about and it's cold, you've got gloves on, it just increases the sensitivity of the display. Featured functions, smart touch, gesture motion, night light, which of course just turns your screen orange. If you're laying in bed and you're looking at the phone, just cuts out that blue light, and you can change the sensitivity and of course schedule it as well. And then missed touch prevention, raise to wake or lift to wake. I tend to keep this off on phones like this because I find that if my phone's next to me and I'm driving, if it's in the passenger seat, any little bump in the road will make that come on. So it's just a little bit annoying personally. So I tend to keep that off. Now, if we jump into system and then go to system updates, we are on Android 15 with a May 2025 security patch. So it's relatively up to date. I don't hold my breath for much in a way of major software updates, but you may very well get a few security patches, maybe quarterly, something like that, but don't expect huge amounts coming from this phone. There's a different way that you can check for the updates. And again, it's telling me it's up to date, not surprised. And then you can click on About Phone, and then it gives you all the information there. 108 megapixel main camera, 32 megapixel selfie camera, front main 16. Why is it telling me that there and that there? Don't know. RAM, again, 512 gigs of storage and Android 15 as well. So let's just quickly jump into that camera. 108 megapixel sensor. So let's just take a picture of the Hyper 7 Pro. It's not going to be particularly quick. Obviously, the lighting in here isn't the best, so it's not going to be the best example of that. And then let's just take a selfie. There we go. I'll be honest with that, there was some serious shutter lag when trying to take that selfie. It's all right, it's not too bad, but I will of course test that out a little bit more, maybe even create some TikToks with some photo samples as well. So follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I certainly add photo samples and other bits and bobs on some of the phones that I'm using and all the bits and bobs that I'm up to as well. So if you're interested in that, definitely follow me on those platforms. And then of course you've got a video mode, night vision mode, using that infrared camera and the infrared lights on the back. And then you've got a beauty mode, which I will avoid like the plague, a high res mode for the 108 megapixels, and then a few other options here, portrait mode, pro mode, etc. as well. So overall, the Cyber 16 Pro does look to be quite a nice device. It doesn't have the massive flashlight on the back that you get on the Hyper 7 Pro. You do get the same IP68, IP69 durability, military grade protection from drops and all that sort of stuff. Again, like I said, it's slimmer than the Hyper 7 Pro because it's got a smaller 6,250 milliamp hour battery as opposed to the 10,000 on this Hyper 7 Pro. But let me know what you think of this Cyber 16 Pro. Like I said, I will be adding a little bit more content on my Instagram and TikToks, just showing its durability and some photo samples as well. So if you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe on the channel, hit a thumbs up as well if you enjoyed it. Drop a comment down below to let me know what you think of this phone. I think it looks quite nice. It's not going to be for everyone, especially the design, and certain areas are not going to be the best performing, like things like the camera and stuff like that. But like I said, let me know down in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.